All right, so today we're going deep on zombies.
Zombies.
Yeah. Everyone thinks they know about zombies, right? They're scary, they eat brains, they love a good apocalypse. But what if I told you that there's way more to these creatures than just horror movies and video games?
It's true. There's a whole history behind zombies that goes way beyond what we see in pop culture.
Exactly. And where better to start than with the word zombie itself?
Well, the word zombie actually comes from Haitian folklore and the Vodou religion.
Vodou. Okay, now that sounds like the start of a really good scary story.
Oh, it is. In Vodou, zombies are reanimated corpses, brought back to life by sorcerers known as bokors.
Bokor. So we're talking like evil magicians using magic to control the dead.
Kind of,
Uh-huh.
but it gets even more complex than that. See, in Haitian tradition, you've got two types of zombies. There's the corporeal zombie, which is the walking, talking, well, maybe not talking, but the physical body. But then there's the zombie astral.
Zombie astral. What's that? Some kind of cosmic zombie?
It's the idea that a Bokor can capture a part of someone's soul. It reflects his belief in soul dualism, the idea that the soul has two parts.
So it's not just about the body being reanimated, it's about the soul being stolen, too.
Exactly. And this concept of soul dualism, it isn't just found in Haitian voodoo. The Bakongo religion, which actually has strong historical connections to Haiti, has similar beliefs about the soul.
So we're seeing these echoes across different cultures.
Yeah. Even in other parts of the Caribbean, you find beings like the Jumbi. They're not exactly zombies, but they've got that same spooky, undead energy about them.
Man, it makes you wonder if these shared beliefs, these fears, are really tapping into some primal fear about death, about what happens after we die.
I know. It's a question that has fascinated anthropologists for centuries. What is it about these stories, these creatures, that resonate with us on such a deep level?
And with that, we're just getting started on our deep dive into zombies. So we've
Yeah.
got zombies with roots in Haitian folklore, talk about soul dualism and all that spooky stuff. But what about real life, right? Have there ever been like actual documented cases of zombies?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Like, is this just folklore or is there something more to it?
Exactly.
Now, well, there's no, like, hard scientific proof that zombies actually exist. There have been some really interesting attempts to explain the whole zombie phenomena.
Yeah, like what?
Well, one researcher, Wade Davis, he traveled to Haiti to investigate these zombie stories.
Okay, so he went straight to the source.
He did, and he came up with this theory that certain powders used in voodoo rituals, powders that contain a really potent neurotoxin found in pufferfish, could actually induce a death-like state.
Wait a minute, pufferfish, like the deadly sushi thing?
The very same.
Wow, okay. You're saying that could be the key to zombification.
That's what Davis proposed. This poison, it's called tetrodotoxin, and he believed it could, along with other substances, create a kind of suspended animation,
Suspended animation, like you're frozen in time?
essentially. So someone in this state, they might appear dead, but they could potentially be revived later, although there'd be significant mental impairment.
Okay, so not exactly the Walking Dead, but more like the easily manipulated living.
That was his thinking, that this vulnerability is what made them susceptible to a Bokor's control.
Man, that's both fascinating and terrifying at the same time, but did it hold up?
It's complicated. I mean, his research, it definitely got people thinking about Haitian voodoo and zombies in a whole new light.
Hmm.
But trying to replicate his findings, it's been difficult, to say the least. Plus, there are ethical considerations to think about.
Oh, right, of course, like experimenting with these substances and, messing with life and death, essentially.
Yes, exactly. So the scientific community is still pretty divided on whether or not Davis was actually onto something. And even if such a powder did exist, the ethics of actually using it on a person, especially considering that there are some accounts that link it to using, well, human remains. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, you're right. That takes us into some really dark territory. So if it's not pufferfish poison, what are some other explanations for these so-called zombie sightings? Are people just seeing things?
Well, some researchers think it could be cases of mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity. Like thinking they saw a zombie, but it was just, what, someone who looked a little unusual?
Or it could be, undiagnosed mental illnesses that can cause these really specific kind of zombie-like symptoms like catatonia.
Ah, so like a medical condition that gets mistaken for something supernatural.
Right, exactly. And then there are even theories about cultural practices, like traditional ways of reintegrating people who might be mentally ill back into society. Then it could be getting misinterpreted as as zombification.
So it's like our perceptions, our beliefs about zombies, they're actually influencing how we interpret what we see in the real world. We're seeing zombies because we expect to see zombies.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. So we've got this mix of cultural beliefs, potential misunderstandings of actual medical conditions, and a good dose of folklore. And speaking of how our understanding of zombies has evolved, how about we dig into how they crawled out of Haitian folklore and into pop culture?
It's wild, right, how our brains work. We see what we want to see.
Totally. And, when it comes to zombies, how we see them today, well, a lot of that goes back to, you guessed it, pop culture.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Zombies are everywhere these days. Movies, TV shows, video games, you name it.
Exactly. And you know what I think the real turning point was? It was George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. That movie, that was huge.
Oh, yeah. Night of the Living Dead, classic.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. I remember the first time I saw it, I couldn't sleep for a week. Oh, I gotta, didn't he call them ghouls or something? Not zombies. You're right. It's funny how we just associate that movie with the word zombie now. But yeah, they never actually used the term in the film.
See, you learn something new every day. So how did we go from ghouls to zombies? Was it just like a slow shift in how people talked about the movie?
Pretty much. Fans and critics started calling those creatures zombies, and the name, it just stuck. Romero's movies, they really did define the modern zombie, and they paved the way for, well, everything that came after.
And what a legacy that is, right? I mean, think about it. We've got slow zombies, fast zombies, zombie apocalypses, even zombie romance movies. Zombies have come a long way from those Haitian folklore roots.
They really have. It's fascinating to see how the genre has evolved. Like fast zombies, those didn't really become a thing until much later.
True. And don't even get me started on the whole zombie apocalypse thing. I mean, one zombie is scary enough, but a whole horde of them trying to take over the world, that's the stuff of nightmares.
Right. Total societal collapse. That's a whole different level of fear. And video games, they've played a huge role in that, in shaping how we imagine a zombie apocalypse would go down.
Oh, absolutely. Resident Evil, Left 4 Dead, all those games where you're fighting off hordes of zombies trying to survive.
Exactly. They tap into this primal fear of being overrun, of losing everything.
Yeah.
And they let us, well, in a way, they let us experience that fear, confront it, but in a safe environment.
Yeah, I guess that's why we keep coming back for more, right? Those thrills, those chills, even if it means sleeping with the lights on for a few nights. But thinking about it, it's kind of profound, isn't it? These creatures, these zombies, they reflect our deepest fears about disease, about societal collapse, about losing our humanity.
That's a really good point. They make us question what it means to be alive, what happens when civilization crumbles, what we'd be willing to do to survive.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, that's why we're so drawn to them. Because in those stories, in those movies and games, we can face our fears head on and hopefully come out on the other side. Well, at least until the sequel, right?
All right.
This has been amazing. You've given us so much to think about. From ancient folklore to modern-day blockbusters, it seems like zombies aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And hey, listeners, if you're still out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.